Hey artists, today we are going to be looking at making landscapes with atmospheric perspective and a pop of color. So let's get started. Alright, so first we're going to talk technique. When you're using a monochromatic color palette, that's when you're using a color palette that's all the same color and it just has different tints, which means we're adding white, or different shades, which means we're adding black. So these colors here are the main color that I mix before adding white or black. And then the ones on top here, they have white added, and these ones have black added. The key though is never to add white and black to color, because then you get a gray tone and it doesn't quite work out. Next, let's talk about color palettes. So for the green, the yellow really has a nice standout look from the green, and it's kind of close to green on the color wheel, but it's sort of far away because this green has a blue tint, and this kind of yellow-orange is kind of yellow with an orange tint, right? And same with the blue. Pink isn't right beside it on the color wheel, but it's kind of close. So I'm gonna pick today for my color palette a purpley pink and then kind of an orangey sky. So let's see how that turns out. Okay, so your first step to actually making your project is to draw out the lines of the mountain. And something that's really great in this one is how this mountain overlaps behind, and this one that's 2 layers in overlaps in front of that one and comes up above that line. I think those are things that give it a nice realistic look that really looks sharp in the end. So as you can see, I drew the top line there, and then I decided that this part was going to come on another layer. I'm actually going to draw something coming out from here and back down over here, and those ones probably will be connected all together. Now don't be afraid to overlap these lines here, because that'll actually make a stronger composition at the end. So I'm just going to erase here and here. And as you can see, I'm not just making plain zigzags. I'm really trying to make these mountains look that they're rock formations in real life. And rock formations aren't just plain zigzags. They have little crevices and little places that they come up and down. And you just kind of have to let your pencil make some really cool, really neat lines. Alright, so now that I've completed the outlines of my mountains, I can get started on color mixing. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and mix these two colors together. So you are going to want to have the color that's the main color of your work pre-mixed, and you want to have a lot of it because you're going to be mixing this with other colors. So I'm going to move some of that color over here, and I'm going to move more of it over here, and then a little bit here. And then once I'm done that, I'm going to wipe off my paint and then wash this brush off so I'm ready to mix in white. Okay, and when you do that be sure to get the water out, because otherwise that won't work very well. So I'm just going to put white on this side, and what that does, it allows me to mix it later so that I'm not re-washing my brush every time. So let's see what this color turns out like. Wow, super pretty. Okay, so this color is looking great. Now we're going to see what this one turns out like. This one's actually probably a little too light for what color we're using for. So I might just take a little bit of this right here, and then I'm going to need to get more of the purple. So we might just remix that last color after. Okay, we're going to continue to see how this works. I just need to wipe off that white. Alright, that looks better. Now we have nice even steps between the colors, which is amazing. Okay, and I've also mixed a little bit more of that base color so that we have some to then mix with black. So the next step is also to have the black mixed with it a little bit. So we need to have the black, and then we need to pull the purple in and mix it. So, as you can see, we have our monochromatic color palette. Okay, so now I'm using one of the pointy brushes. You can also use a flat brush, but what you want to make sure to have extra control is just have that paint just on the tip of your brush. So now you're going to make sure that you're super careful around the edges so you can get all that cool information that you were thinking about when you were using your pencil. Alright, so if you are using a flat brush, tips are that you can use kind of going to the side to get a really nice clean edge there. And then you just pull the paint that's going to come off down towards the rest of the mountain. Something that you might notice when you're painting the kind of the base hue is that it's not going on as smoothly as the other colors did. Now that's because there's no white in this color. So what you might need to do is just figure out ways to smooth it down and also just wait and make a second coat of paint before you do the trees. So what I'm going to do is do my best job now with this layer, then I'm going to go to the black tone, and then I'm going to do this one more time before I paint those trees. The black isn't super thick either, so that's going to need another coat as well. But now we're going to just put this aside for a sec and work on making our trees. Okay, so you're going to make a number of trees, and they're not all going to work out. Try to find what works for you to make a tree that's fairly good. The idea is that we're making a silhouette. So this is one way to do it, kind of having horizontal marks back and forth. Another thing to do is to start with kind of a pyramid at the top and just kind of extend down with sort of shaggy lines in a triangle form, and that looks like a great tree too. So really experiment about what works for you and how you want to make a tree. So this one again is going down, kind of helping it get sort of a triangle at the top, and then from there working on the branches and the extension of the tree. See, it takes a little bit, but there's parts of this one I like a lot, and there's parts of other ones I really like. So start just picking up on what things you want to avoid and what things make your trees look like you want them to. Okay, so while I was working on the trees and practicing them, I was able to let this dry a little bit more, and now I'm able to go back and give it a second coat, and the second coat's sticking versus picking up the paint and kind of giving the translucent, mostly is at least. So now I can get a better application of the paint. And while we're waiting for the lower areas to dry a little bit more, now we can do the sky. Now I did this at full strength at first, but I do think that I need to add a little bit of white to my orange. By a little bit, I mean a lot. Oh yeah, that looks way better. I kind of think it needs to be the same intensity as like that color there, that second one in. Alright, and now it's time to do the trees. Okay, something I realized after the fact is that I actually needed to have this dark part a little bit lower so that you could see the trees on this part of the background. So I went ahead and did that, and because you're watching this video before you're making it, you can make that adjustment when you're doing the project. Alright, and the last step is to paint the sides, and to try to paint them using the sides so that it comes down onto the edge. The other thing you might need to do is just touch up this, this connection point between the orange and the purple, or whatever colors you're using, because you might have gone over the purple with the orange while you painted the sky. At this point you can also put on a second layer of your sky color, and that'll just make it look so much more vivid and bright and consistent. And there you go. You've created a painting that has atmospheric perspective of the colors receding in the distance using monochromatic colors. So you should be so proud of yourself, and I hope you have so much fun doing this project.